all the aquarium equipment, the equipment I like the least are heaters. And so I thought I would do a video for all of my fellow fish fans out there about fish that don't require heaters. So if you clicked on this video and you are new around here, consider hitting the subscribe button, or better yet, hit the bell. That way you won't miss videos like this one. I would really appreciate it. But I wanted to do a video about this because I think that there's some misinformation out there about heaters. So for starters, I'm not talking about people who are living in Alaska or, you know, the Antarctic and don't have heaters in their house. You know, if you're living literally in the snow, this isn't going to work, obviously. But these are fish that I think the majority of people, their homes are at a comfortable enough temperature that you can keep your fish without a heater. That being said, I don't run heaters on any of my tanks except for my discus tank, because that tank needs to run at 84 degrees, and I live in Arizona where my house is 81 degrees year-round. My tanks have never dropped below 78 degrees without a heater. I don't run heaters in any of them, and that's just because it's hot here. There are people, of course, in Arizona who do need to run heaters, and those are people who run their air conditioning cooler than we do. But I keep my air conditioning very warm because I am cheap and do not want to pay the insane bill that it would cost. So obviously, if you're in that kind of situation, you can do what I do. You can keep tropical fish without a heater in your house. However, most people are not keeping their house at 81 degrees year-round, or at least I would venture a guess. And so for those of you out there that have a much more comfortable temperature in your house, these fish are fish that you could keep in a tank and not have a heater, and they would do okay. They're not necessarily cold water fish. Some of them are, but they are fish that do fine in cold water. Most of them can go right up to tropical temperatures and still be totally fine. There's a lot of myths out there about cold water fish, and the truth is that a lot of these fish will do totally fine in warmer temperatures. It might speed up their metabolism a little bit, but they'll do okay. The other thing to keep in mind if you're not going to have a heater in your house is that as your house gets warmer, when the temperature is warmer, your fish's metabolism is going to be warmer, and that higher metabolism is going to mean they need to be fed more. It's also going to mean that they need more water changes because they're going to be creating more waste. So just general things to think about heaters. I don't like them because I find they are the number one thing that fails. The number one reason, in my opinion, apart from people not understanding the nitrogen cycle, but the number one reason for tank crashes are probably heater failures, followed closely by power outages, which I should do a video about power outages as well. So these are my top 5 favorite fish that don't require a heater, in no particular order. Number 5, goldfish. Obviously, these were going to be on the list. They're everyone's favorite. But the reason I put them as number 5 is because if you don't want to buy a heater, I'm guessing that you probably don't want to spend a lot of money. That's not always the case, but that could be the case. And while goldfish themselves are typically pretty inexpensive, especially if you're talking about like common goldfish, their setups can get quite pricey. Goldfish need very, very large tanks. And so if you're going to be keeping a smaller system, you don't want goldfish. I did a whole video about goldfish. I will try to remember to link it in the iCard. If you want to know more about goldfish, you can check that out. But I would not recommend goldfish in a small system. But if your tank is large enough, say at least a 29-gallon for one fancy goldfish, but ideally 40 breeder, 55 larger, then yeah, I think goldfish are a really, really great option for a fish that does not require a heater. Number 4, zebra danios. Again, if your house is literally freezing, this is not going to work. But zebra danios, for the most part, can go down to a little bit lower temperatures than some of the other tropical fish. Zebra danios do totally fine in a tank that does have a heater, so don't think that they're cold water fish and can't be kept with warm water fish. But they do fine in tanks without heaters. I love zebra danios for that reason. Which brings me to number 3 on my list, which is going to be the white cloud. White clouds are so underrated. I particularly like the 24-karat white clouds. I just think that they're really, really pretty fish. And these are one fish that I personally have always wanted but have not tried. Maybe that's what I'll do in my new 55-gallon, or my old 55-gallon saltwater tank, is I'll do a white cloud tank, because that would be pretty sweet. Although white clouds are a fish that do prefer cooler temperatures, they might get uncomfortable in the heat of my house, but still, I do really like them. And the nice thing about white clouds is I feel like they're just pretty. I like the designs on them, and they can live in these kind of smaller tanks. So if you're looking for a smaller system, like a 10-gallon or something like that, you could do white clouds, you could do zebra danios. It's not like the goldfish where they need enormous space. You could do them in relatively small spaces. And white clouds are supposed to be really good for breeding too. So I don't know. Now I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. Number 2, for fish that doesn't require a heater, in my opinion, I really love Florida flagfish. They are a little bigger than, the white clouds, but they do totally fine in lower temperatures, and I think that they make a really great, excuse me, I think that they make a really great addition to a heatless tank. They're kind of hard to get a hold of. You don't see them very often. In fact, I haven't seen them in stores, but I've seen a lot of videos about them, and they really make me want some. Now, before I get to my number 1 favorite choice for a fish that doesn't require a heater, I do want to do a real quick shout out to an honorable mention, and that is the Denison barb. I think they're so pretty, and whenever I see pictures of them, I'm like, yes, I want that. And I personally have not kept them, but it says online that they can go down to 60 degrees. The reason why I didn't put them in the top 5 and they are like a bonus fish is just because they're kind of pricey and hard to get a hold of. Just like the Florida flagfish, I have not seen them in any of my local stores, but every time I see pictures online, I'm like, those look super cool. Now, like I said, I haven't kept them, but if they're anything like some of the barbs I have kept, I will say get a big school of them, which can get pricey if you're getting a big school. But the bigger the school, especially with barbs, the more peaceful they're going to be, because they can get quite aggressive if you are not careful. So just keep that in the back of your mind, but these are some really pretty fish. And like I said, they go all the way down to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. I have no idea what that is Celsius, but it's low. They do fine. That being said, my absolute number 1 favorite fish that does not require a heater are Endler's live bearers. I love them. So Endlers are a relative to a guppy. In fact, they can breed with each other, and the hybrids look absolutely beautiful. And if you look at a wild-caught guppy and an Endler, you're not going to see much of a difference between the two of them. However, guppies have been captive bred over the course of a few decades, that they've just been getting really perfecting their coloration, their tail shapes, and turning them into these absolutely beautiful, stunning fish. And the fish that I used to keep as guppies back in the 90s are not the fish of today, and certainly not the fish of way back when they first started doing this. As time has gone on, generation after generation with the guppies, they've become more accustomed to the heaters, and they've become more accustomed to better water parameters. They've gotten a little bit less hardy, in my personal opinion, compared to what they used to be. That being said, guppies are still really great fish. But I find that Endlers do totally fine without a heater, even in relatively chilly water. They can do fine with a heater too, which is why they're great. Another reason why they're number 1 is because they do great in nano tanks. I just love them. I love Endlers. If I could only have one fish for the rest of my life, it would possibly be Endlers, because you could just breed them forever, But yeah, that is my top 5 and a bonus favorite fish that don't require a heater. Overall, I don't think heaters are entirely necessary, but I would love to hear from you guys. Are there any fish that I've left out here that you really love that don't require a heater? Let me know in the comments, and let me know what videos you want to see next. I've been trying to put stuff out pretty consistently here, so I need video ideas. Let me know in the comments. Also, if you haven't, hit the subscribe button, and if you are a fish fan and you want everyone to know that you're a fish fan, don't forget to check out the Fish Fan t-shirts. They will be linked down below. They're available for a limited time, and we'll see. I might end up relaunching it, but I'd love if you guys would check that out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.